Shout out to Gail. Shout out to Gail. Good evening to you. I'll tell you something. As you guys come on, what you can do to see that everybody gets information, if you can, send out invitations if you can to those that you know within your circle. Be much appreciated. We can talk about it. Got a real, very, very important, interesting topic tonight. And absolutely. Let's go. I'm gonna just wait for a few minutes, just to let a few more people come on the stream. I know this is Friday. We got 3-day weekend. Everybody got they amped up. They got paid today, even though they got a whole bunch of bills. They'll probably be broke by Sunday. At least they got tonight. You know. I'm pretty sure the last thing they're probably thinking about doing is listening to a talking point like this. Well, again, thank you for all of you that came on. Let me see what we got. Shout out to Abdul. Shout out to Hassan, Black Brand, Sharif. Shout out to you, my brother. Thank you for jumping on the stream. Appreciate you, man. We got a hot topic tonight. A very overlooked topic. This topic, ladies, do you want the trophy for the race you are unwilling to run? And I'm going to explain to you exactly what that means. If any of us have ever seen a track race, I know I ran track in high school. I ran cross country in high school. I did some short runs, but I didn't like that. You know, I stayed in my lane. You know, I did what I was good at. And what I was good at is running the long race. I think it would be wise for all of us to get good at just trying to run the long race. Not the long race in the physical sense, meaning running a long cross-country race in terms of track, but running the long race of life. And this topic tonight lends credit to that statement, because all too often what happens is our ladies, they tend to want the thing that they didn't earn. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to talk about it. Because the long race includes the men that you say you want. And the men you say you want are the men that are in the top 10 and 15% of money earners in the country. If you polled, and I've spoken to many, many sisters, they all say pretty much the same thing. They want that man that makes that top 10, 15% income. We're talking about $100,000 and better. And then I ask them another question. I ask them, does it matter what their nationality is? Most black women that I've spoken to, they all say they would prefer a black man. Now herein where lies the problem. Because if that's what you want, now you're talking about the top 10%, and in some cases, depending on what you're really looking for, if you intend to have children with this individual that you're talking about, and you don't want to work, and you want to stay home, and you don't want to contribute any significant percentage of the household income, that changes the dynamics of your desire. That changes it. Then you have to take into consideration the ones that you want, whether they're already married, and you have to take into consideration their sexual preference. You have to take into consideration their age. There's a lot of things you have to take into consideration when you start asking for certain things. And all too often, what our women do, they never put pen to paper. They never put pen to paper to figure out what exactly that is. They don't put pen to paper in terms of geographics, where they live. That matters. If you live in Kentucky, in the back roads of Kentucky or Mississippi, that changes what it is that you say you want. Because now you have to modify your desires based on the area where you live, or you have to move into a more metropolitan city where men are. So we're going to get into it. Ladies, do you want the trophy for the race that you were unwilling to run? What do I mean by that, and why is that important? If you think about what Big Mama told you, and if you think about what your mother told you, and if you think about what your auntie told you when you were growing up as a young girl, they told you, especially Generation X, they told you, girl, get an education, pursue your career, get enough income so that you don't need a man. This is what they told you. And you believed it. But where did it come from? Why was it so easy for you to believe that? Why? Because you watched your mother, in most cases, disrespect your father. That's what you watched. You watched her disrespect your father, and he was hardworking, but he didn't make enough money. But he was doing the best that he could. You watched her overtalk him when he talked. So you learned what disrespect looks like. You learned that it wasn't important for you to respect the man that was actually in your life, who was serving as a provider. Regardless of whether he could have brought 10 boxes or whether he was only by way of finance able to bring 6. You were taught to disrespect anything that he was able to bring based on watching and paying attention carefully from a young girl all the way up into your teen years, and even trickled down into your adult years, how you should deal with, treat, and how you should look at or revere or not revere a black man in your life. You knew that he was necessary for one respect and one aspect. And what was that aspect? That was that he was able to go to work and bring home a little bit of money. Even if it wasn't enough, you never turned it down. You never turned it down. So where does that lead us now going forward? As that thought process in its infancy stage leads into adolescent stage and then matures into an adult stage. By the time you become an adult and you already were told to go to college and get an education so that you don't need a man. Why is education the foundation or the stage by which you don't need one? I want you ladies that watch this stream either tonight, right now, while I'm doing it live, or watch it later. I want you to think about that statement. Why is education taught to you as it relates to whether you need or don't need a man? Why? And how does that serve you? Because at the end of the day, no matter how much education you make, the education you get, or how much income you make as a result of that education, every man knows that if he comes into your life, you're dealing with not only debt from college, but you're dealing with consumer debt. And you expect, if you get the man that you choose, that you want, you expect him to come in and take the whole lion's share of the responsibility of taking care of that debt. Not only his debt and the bills that come along with just everyday life, but your debt as well. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. There's not a man on your list that would not be willing to do that if he had the resources to do so. If you brought to the table a few characteristics, not your money, not your materialistic gain, not what you've earned. At the end of the day, a good man doesn't care about your income. You've heard me say this on many different streams. He doesn't care about your income. He doesn't care about your education. He doesn't care about what you've acquired as a result of your education and your profession and the resources financially that you've acquired as a result of your education. He doesn't care. He don't care about your car, the kind of car you drive. He don't care if he meets you and you have a house. He doesn't care what kind of jewelry you wear. He don't care if you own a Birkin bag. He don't care if you own a Louis Vuitton bag. He don't care. ladies, he doesn't care about any of those things because he knows the men that you want. You know what he knows? He knows if he is with you, that all of your expenses is on him, as it should, if you meet the requirements. See, here's what happens when you go to college, and for any of you that watch the stream now or you watch it later, I want you to think about it. I'm talking to the ladies right now. For those of you that went to college, I want you to think back on your college days. And for those of you that are currently in college, pay attention. Becky, Julie, Jasmine, Marisol, Gabrielle, they only act up in their first year of college. Maybe the second year, but they cut it to a minimum. When they hit their junior year, they get real serious about their academics. Excuse me. And all of a sudden, the same girls that you saw at all the parties, the frat parties, all the ones you saw at the local neighborhood household parties, all of a sudden, you don't see them anymore. They just vanish like they fell off the side of the planet. You know what they're doing now? Now they're getting involved in community programs. They're fine-tuning their GPA. They're paying more attention to their attendance now. They're starting to tighten up their behavior in such a way that they will attract the men that they want. They start going to different fraternities that are populated by men. And then they start to curtail and change and tailor their behavior in a way that would be attractive to the man that they want. You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because the men you want when you're in your early years, they're the ones that are in college. When they're sitting in their dorm room, they're eating oodles and noodles because they don't have any money. And for those of you that have been to college, you know you're the brokest you are in your whole life when you're in college. You don't have no money. That's why you're calling home a lot, trying to get your parents to send you some money. Wire you some money. I know. You know about it. So you don't have any money. But in college, for a woman that's in college, what she's paying attention to is the men who have the highest potential of high earning. She pays attention to what he's involved in, be it community programs or community service. She pays attention to the type of fraternity that he's involved in. If he's a frat brother, she pays attention to that. She pays attention to a lot of things, how he carries himself. She pays attention to that, how he talks, whether he's a part of the presidential board of the college or whatever. He's involved in different areas and programs that's in the college. This is what Becky, Marisol, Gabrielle, Jasmine, this is what they're paying attention to. And unfortunately, what happens with our women, they go to college and it becomes hot girl summer from the freshman year all the way to the senior year, and they're told to focus on their education alone. Because again, like I said in the beginning of the stream, black women are taught, unfortunately, to go to college so you don't need a man, while Becky, Jasmine, Gabrielle, Julie, they're taught to go to college to find one. So ladies, ask you a question. Do you want the trophy for the race that you are unwilling to run yourself? Skid, I'm going to tell you something. Those individuals that understand what going to school is for, it's not to just simply get an education and get a degree in a particular field. They get educations in most part. I'm talking about our your non-black counterparts. You know what they're taught? To get educations where they can actually be an asset to their husband or their future husband. I'll give you an example. If you go to school for accounting and you meet a husband or a young man in college who's going to school to be an accountant, you got to think ahead. You got to think ahead. What if he opens up an accounting firm? He may be making money as an accountant, but if you catch him in college when he's running the laps, when he's getting all the cramps in his side, when he's falling and tripping and getting injuries and healing from those injuries, and when he's accepting his failures and his successes. He's already embraced his defeats and he's embraced his successes, to get to the point that when he graduates, he's now interning as an accountant. Then over the years as an accountant, successfully completing his internship, he moves into actually being an accountant. Now he's an accountant. He does that for a few more years, and guess where you are? You're right there with him, because you was with him when you were eating oodles and noodles in the dorm room. Understand what I'm saying? You've been running that track. You've been running that race with him the whole time. You're more valuable than any other person, any other woman that could ever be desiring of him. You are more valuable. So now he's an accountant, and he's running the race of an accountant. He's going through the curves and the turns and the ups and the downs, but he's coming from the ground level, and now he's become a great accountant. He's learned the industry enough to where he feels like, you know what? I think I should start my own accounting firm. Guess where you were, Becky? Guess where you were, Jasmine? Guess where you were, Gabrielle? You were right there in the beginning when he was eating oodles and noodles on his dorm room bed. Now he starts his accounting firm. It starts off a little slow, but because you went to school and got a degree in accounting, guess what you can do now? You become an asset as opposed to a liability. Why? Because you ran the race that you were willing to run. So when he gets the accounting firm up, and you've already been majored in accounting, now you can be an asset to him as opposed to a liability. When you hear men talk about what you bring to the table, ladies, what they're asking you is, are you an asset or a liability to where they're trying to go? A husband for you is a program. You have to be willing to get on his program. Oh, I know that triggered a lot of you right now, just me saying that. What? Get on his program. Get on his what? What? I don't have a right to have a program? I can have a program. Yeah, you do have a right to have a program. But you have your program, it doesn't matter unless you want to be single. Because if you want to be married, now you have to get on your husband's program. And I know a lot of y'all don't like to hear that. Woo, I know. Oh man, I know. I'm watching people that were viewing that dropped off already. It's okay. The consequences of your decision will still remain the same if everybody drop off. Let me tell you something. The stats, the facts, and the statistics don't lie. In the black community, we are suffering. And we're suffering from misinformation. We're suffering from being lied to. We're suffering from being misdirected, misguided, and we are suffering from listening to the wrong advice. Who is black women listening to? Really? Think about it. What's been the most prioritized advice? It's been go to school, get an education. Girl, do your thing so you don't need no man. That's been the main narrative for women, and the feminist movement has not helped. Because the feminist movement was started to give women the right, the ability to think freely and have freedom of choice as it relates to employment and different areas of opportunity in the country. Because that started in 1868. It had nothing to do with black women. Ladies, those of you that are black women, these talking points are for every nationality. Because I don't discriminate. I'm not a racist at all. But my talking points specifically are directed towards our women, because our community is suffering the most. 1 out of every 4 will marry. And that's the statistics today. But those numbers can change by next year. It can be 1 in 10, 1 in 20, 1 in 15. Okay? They can change just like that. Just like that. So who am I really talking to? I'm talking to you, sister. I'm talking to you, black woman. I'm talking to you. The one that don't want to listen to these talking points. I'm talking to you. The one that don't want to watch my stream, but you watch it in secret. I'm talking to you. The one that don't want to pay attention, that don't like any man having these kind of talking points. Where has that attitude gotten you? It hasn't gotten you any success in your outcomes and the things that you say you want. It hasn't gotten you any success. You still keep looking for different ways to make that narrative change. But the only way to make it change is to simply do one thing. Become a wife. Matter of fact, I'll give you another tip. Pay attention to the ones that are successful. You know, you ladies like to talk to each other. Go ask Marisol, how does she do it? Go ask Gabrielle, how does she do it? Go ask Jasmine, how does she do it? Go ask the women that actually are reaching the outcomes that they want when you are not reaching the outcomes you want. Stop talking to your single girlfriend at the job who ain't got no man. Oh yeah, I'm going there. Stop talking to her. Stop talking to her. Stop talking to your auntie who ain't got no man. Stop talking to your mama who ain't got no man. Stop talking to your grandma who ain't got no man. Stop talking to women that don't have any results that equal the results that you want in terms of outcomes. Stop getting advice from single women. Single women keep single women single. How many times you heard me say that? You're going to keep hearing that. But y'all, you know, it seems ladies, you don't get it. You'd rather get emotional than to hear the actual talking point so that it can help you. I said don't get mad, get better. Because at the end of the day, ladies, are you looking for the trophy that you are unwilling to run? In the race you are unwilling to run. Every man that you say you want on that list, that long list that you have, I mean, it's a long list too. You already know you don't meet up to the requirements of the list that you have, so knock it off. You have a lot of work to do yourself while you get mad at the men because you can't find the men that meet up to the list that you have. That's why you're upset, because you won't take accountability for the fact that you have to qualify for the list of the men that you're talking about. It's not just going to pop up in your lap. They're not going to come knock on your door and ring your bell. It requires work. The same work that the men that you say you want had to do to get to the level that they're on. Every man that got to whatever level they're on, they had to do something. They couldn't just show up. I don't care how attractive they are, how tall they are, how buff they are. That don't mean nothing. They had to do something. They couldn't just show up, no matter who you are. You had to do something. It required work. It required work, ladies. It required work. And I'll tell you something. Some of you say, well, we're looking for good men. And you know, it don't seem there's no good men out there. It seems to be a shortage of good men. And I know the other narrative. Oh, well, if you're a black woman looking for a black man, you'll say, well, you know, they're all getting incarcerated and locked up. Well, I'm gonna debunk that lie. I'm gonna debunk that. I'll get back to that in a second. They're all locked up, or they have alternative lifestyles. Okay, I'm gonna debunk that too. What it really comes down to is that 54% of black men in this country, ladies, they're single and they're childless. Black men want you and they want to marry you, but they don't see anything that qualifies them to take the risk. What do you mean, and why is that important? Men by nature are cost benefit calculators. We look at the benefit and the cost of our decisions in most cases, especially when it comes to relationships. What do I mean by that? And why is that important? Cost. If it costs too much emotionally, psychologically to deal with you, the woman we want, and the benefit is too low, black men will opt out. They'll opt out. You think about it. You go shopping all the time. And you ladies, you know, you guys are good at going shopping and getting coupons and clipping them and cutting them and finding out how ways you can save money. Why? What are you exercising when you do that? You're exercising cost benefit. Well, men are cost benefit calculators by nature. You look for the best deal, don't you? You look for the best deal. You look for how you can save money, but men look at it that way, how they can save time. You look at it in terms of how to save money. Men look at it in how they can save time, how they can save resources, meaning their money, how they can save frustration, aggravation, how they can save the reservoir of peace that they have reserved in their mind and in their heart, and whether they're willing to give it to you and sacrifice losing a percentage of it because you weren't the right one. Men are cost benefit calculated. I know you went to college. I know you got a degree. Some of you, I know you got PhDs and MDs and MSs and all kinds of letters. I mean, a lot of our women today are doing much better in terms of academics than black men are, and that's the truth, and I will give you the credit for that. But what has that benefit? What did it cost you? What did you have to lose because of it? See, I'm gonna tell you something. Every other nationality never looked at education as an alternative to their man. They never have, ladies. Why is that? It's because they grew up in a culture where they knew the importance. They were taught the importance of their men. They knew they needed their men. Why? Because they looked around to their left and to their right and into their front and to their rear, and they saw a whole infrastructure that was built at the hands of men. They understood the importance of their men. And for those of you that live in urban cities, I know you go up and down the street, you see Latino men standing on the corner waiting for a van just to get a job or a work assignment that day. Do you understand that the women that they have in their lives don't look down on them differently? What makes them look up to them is the fact that they're willing to get out there and tackle the wolf and wrestle the bear and bring it back home to her. See, but here's what we've been taught. Here's what black women have been taught. We've been taught that it's the amount of money that you can bring home. And based on how much money you bring home determines whether you have enough money to pay for my submission, my agreement, my comfortability, my non-combative behavior. You and how much money you make determines whether I'm going to give you the right climatic conditions in the house that you're paying rent in, as to whether you can be happy, upset, distressed, or just plain outright unhappy, willing to leave and ready to walk out the front door. Ladies, you run most of your men out the front door and then blame him for having the problem. Do you want the trophy for the race you're unwilling to run? Is that what you want? You want a trophy for a race you won't run. Understanding the fact that when you run a race, you're gonna go through some pains. You're gonna get cramps. Your legs are gonna get tired. You're gonna get out of breath. A lot of things are gonna happen before you hit that finish line, and you may feel it before you finish the race. It may happen in the 4th, 5th, or 6th lap. But you have to run a few laps to qualify. You're not going to qualify as the winner to get the trophy or the medal until you finish the race. Are you willing to run the race and be the asset or liability to the men that you say you want? Are you in the process of the men you say you want progress? Or are you, again, an asset or liability? When you start talking about what it is that you bring to the table, it's not the table. I'm going to tell you that right now. I hear so many sisters that I talk to, they say that. I am the table. No, you're not. You know you're not. You're not the table. No, you're not. You're not even the legs. You gotta bring something to the table. Bringing something to the table means the legs were already there. It also means the table was there. Now, bringing something means you had it before you got to the table. So that ridiculous statement just holds no weight at all. That's a lack of accountability. You want a good thing without any effort, any work at all. There's a lot of good men out here, and listen, let me tell you something. 85% of all black men, if that's the man you say you want, if you want a black man, if you don't want a black man, okay, fine. I mean, you can look for any other nationality. I don't have a problem with that. I promise you that. I don't have a problem. But can you qualify for them? If you can't qualify for the black men that's right in your own reach, how do you think you'll qualify for the ones outside of your reach? When they're in a whole different thought process, and they're in a whole different culture, and a whole different value system, how will you qualify for them? You're not even trying to qualify for the ones that you have, and that's 85%. 85% of all black men in this country make between $41,000 to $42,500. And you heard me say that. $41,000 to $42,500. And I know what some of you are saying, that ain't enough money. I don't want that. But you want a man that makes a whole lot of money and he ain't gonna treat you right. It's amazing what you ladies will sacrifice. It's amazing to me. You can't make it up. You will sacrifice a good man who doesn't make a lot, but he's willing to work hard for you. If you're the right candidate, if you're fit, you're friendly, you're easy to be around, you're nurturing, you're non-combative. You don't talk over your man, showing him the first display of disrespect. If you're that kind of woman, trust me, let me tell you something. You will be better off going forward into the future with your life in terms of the end of life. Because the end of life comes for all of us. The end of life will come for you. The end of life will come for me. The end of life will come for all of us. The end of your story that spells success will never spell it based on what you've acquired while you were alive. It will never spell it based on what you've purchased while you're alive. It won't spell it based on your red bottoms. It won't spell it based on your Birkin bag. It won't spell it based on your Gucci bag, your Louis Vuitton bag. It won't spell it based on your eyelashes. It won't spell it based on your extensions. It won't spell it based on your Brazilian butt lips. It won't spell it based on your tucks and tips. It won't, ladies, none of that will mean anything when you get into old age. Old age and the decisions that you made right now while you're having a good time in hot girl summer, you never contemplated that winter is coming. Do you want the trophy for the race that you are unwilling to run? And I'm going to tell you something. There's not a man alive that a woman, if she's willing to run that race with him while he's striving to meet his goals, to meet his achievements, to reach for the thing that he wants to do, he'll give you everything he acquires, every success he acquires. If you're willing to run that race with him, if you can see him valuable at the point when he had nothing, if you can see him then as valuable, not after he gets it. Ladies, you can't stand at the end of the finish line and then stand there waiting with your hand out for a trophy that you were unwilling to run the race. You weren't willing to run the race. He wasn't good enough. He didn't have enough money. He was working part-time while in college at Pizza Hut. He didn't look so successful then, did he? No. He was working part-time at Domino's Pizza while he was in college. He didn't look so successful then, did he? He didn't look so successful then. You weren't as impressed. So you put him to the side. And you decided to focus only on your career that you were trying to go to. You chose to focus on your major that you were majoring in college. This is what you chose to focus on, black woman. You chose to focus on these things. And what happened is you used all the years, which were your prime years, from 18, 19, all the way into now 35. And now you're in the career that you want, not understanding that you're in the latter years of your life. 35, for any of you ladies that are out there that think 50 years old is considered middle age, I got news for you. 35 is middle age. I know you never heard that. You probably never heard that too many times. 35 is middle age. Why is 35 middle age? Because 35 represents when women go into what's called geriatric pregnancy. Now you're high risk pregnancy. And it's usually at that age, after you've acquired your career, and if you've acquired your resources, and you're now in your house, and you got the dog, and he's in the back, and a couple of cats, when you start deciding that, you know what, I think I need to get serious about a real relationship. This happens a lot in our community. A lot, more often than not. Now you're serious about a relationship. What you don't understand is at that age, if you want the men you say you want, while you look past the men that are available for you at 85%, who want you, but you don't really want them. You want to go for something that you don't even qualify for. Why? You waited too long. When men that are in those top 15 and 10%, they want women that are between 22 and 25 years old. Why? Because those women are able to be taught, those women are able to be molded like a suit to where the buttons and the seams fit perfectly. A wife is a woman who fits that man like a suit, like a tailored suit. And I know y'all don't like to hear that statement. I know you don't like to hear that statement because you really have been made to believe that your position in the earth is not to be a helpmeet to the man that you say you want. You want a man to be a utility, a man to just be there to bring money, but you don't think you have a job to do. And as it relates to the man that you say you want, you don't believe that you have anything that you have to bring to the table. You think he's just supposed to show up with his money and his check and his career and just throw it all on the table for you. Really? Really? When a man wants fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, non-combative? But if you have a career, and in most cases what a career does for a lot of women, it takes them out of their femininity and it puts them into their masculinity because they have acquired materialistic things and they've acquired a home, they've acquired a car, they're driving a 600 series brand new fully loaded Mercedes-Benz, they're walking around with diamonds and Birkin bags and Louis Vuittons and Gucci bags and red bottoms. They're walking around these things and they're walking around with these things as a single woman, and they have a high expensive breed dog that's in their house or a high expensive breed cat in their house. They have these things, and these things have defined the value that they put on themselves. And it's a delusion, ladies. It's a delusion. It's a delusion. Because as old age hits you, usually about 50 is when the body starts to break down and go into reverse in a slow stage, depending on how you're living your life. You have to make some real decisions. What is it exactly do you want? Do you want simply to be aggrandized or looked at for what you've been able to acquire, what you've been able to purchase, what you've been able to get as a result of the years that you wasted in the best years of your life in terms of education? Now you're at the latter years of 35 and you really think you have time, and you don't. You don't have time. Ladies, you don't have time. I know you think you do, but you don't. You don't have time. You're doing a whole lot of dating, and dating to me is stupid. Why do I say that? And why is that important? Because dating is only a prelude, an intermission to the person who has marriage on their mind, or a woman that has marriage on their mind. Otherwise, it's just a hookup. And what you've been experiencing, ladies, and I know this is going to sting, you've been dating a lot, but your dates have been hookups. You haven't sat across a table from the man that was marriage-minded. Why? Because you're not marriage-minded. You're not looking for a husband. There's a lot of things you're looking for. You're either looking for a free meal that night, or you're looking for him to buy you something, take you on a shopping spree, but are you looking for a husband? Are you looking for somebody to take you into the latter years of your life? Are you looking for that perfect mate that is not perfect, but he's good, and he's committed, and he's marriage-minded? Are you looking for that individual that can follow you throughout your life and take you into the end of life, to where now when you need somebody to really take care of you and not take you to dinner, not take you to lunch, and not take you on a shopping spree, but is there for you because you're physically unable to take care of yourself? Do you want a man next to you that loves you, cares about you, who can help to take care of you, ladies? Do you want the trophy that you were unwilling to run for? You want a freebie, having put in no work. And it's gotten you the results that you have right now. Black women are having a lot of sex, a whole lot of sex with no outcomes, a whole lot of sex with nobody who wants to keep them, a whole lot of sex with their bills getting paid, but he ain't gonna keep you, a whole lot of sex and he's paying your car note, but he ain't keeping you, a whole lot of sex. He's buying you jewelry, buying you shoes, buying you this, buying your weed, buying you everything. He's buying everything for you materialistically. Why? Because he can afford it and don't matter to him. But the real sacrifice, if he cared, would be to keep you. You're not getting those results, ladies, and you know you're not. You know you're not getting those results. You're not. And many of you don't even have 5 friends that got the same results, that got the results that you want. You don't even have 5 friends that are married happily with a husband that they're cooperative with, submissive with, nurturing with, pleasant to be around. You know why I know that? Because if they were, they wouldn't be hanging with you. Because your behavior and your attitude and your inability to take accountability for bad behavior. You've had panda bears, and I call them panda bears. These are men that reward bad behavior. They just simply reward bad behavior. That's it. They're trying to secure the fact that you'll sleep with them tonight. So they don't want to make you mad at all. They don't even want to make you mad. So they'll say anything that they think you need to hear or want to hear, instead of telling you what you need, what they know they want to say. They won't say it. There's people on my stream right now that won't come, but they watch it later. They don't want their wife to even believe that they're watching my stream. They scared the bed gonna turn into an icicle. Panda bears. Panda bears. I call them panda bears. Because a real man wants the same thing that I'm talking about in these talking points. And the thing about it, at the end of the day, do I even care if anybody gets mad about what I'm saying? Absolutely not. If you're mad, get mad, but get better. Because it'll change the outcomes of where we are right now in our community. I would be silly and disingenuous if I cared about somebody getting mad. I don't care if you get mad, but get better. If you just simply get mad, then you confirm my talking points. You make my talking points real. But if you change, and after getting mad, then you confirm that my talking points helped you. And many won't get help. Why? Because you can't save everybody. I would be a fool to think that my talking points would save everybody. But ladies, let me tell you something. You got to get to a place where you can save yourself. Because you know what? You're sitting behind a shield, a wall, where you think you're protected and where you think you're safe. But you can't get out, and nobody can get in. You can't get out, and nobody can get in. So how is that going to give you the outcomes that you say you want? And at the same time, even under those conditions, you want the trophy for the race that you were unwilling to run. That's what you want. You think it's going to fall on your lap with no work. And I got news for you. It's not. It's not. Your only option is black men. If you are a black woman, or you can do the alternative. There's a lot of that going on. You can do the alternative. And then both of you guys can have a dog. But at the end of the day, if you want a man to take you into the end of life, while you and him both go into the end of life and rock out together, happy, holding each other's hands into old age, and talking about all the stories that you had and all the situations you had to go through to get to the place where you can even have that story. Let me tell you something. Ooh, that brings me to a thought. Do you know if you have relatives right now, and I mean, I know many of you that hear this either right now or the ones that chose to log off and watch later, whenever you watch it, whenever you choose to watch it, you know what I'm saying, if you're rubbed the wrong way, if you're triggered, whatever, so what? I'll be back Friday with another topic. But if you want the outcomes that you say you want, if you want the outcomes that you say you want, wouldn't you want to go into old age with someone that walked through the valley of trials and tribulations with you, where you had the bitter and the sweet, to now in old age, while you're both weak, you're both getting feeble, but you still have your clarity of mind and thought, and you get to tell your sweet story about how you maintained and were able to stay together. And like I said on my last stream, our foreparents were made of better stuff. They were made of better stuff, ladies. You need to do some research and find out what they were made of, so that you can at least try to conform to some of those characteristics, some of those behaviors. Stop fighting everything. Everything ain't a fight. Stop fighting everything. In particular, what comes from a black man's mouth. I know you were never taught to take advice or listen or respect anything a black man had to say. I mean, Color Purple did us real dirty. And now black women today, they color purple everything in the black community. Everything has to be a Color Purple story. You know, everything has to be a negative. You know, and anything that happens in their relationships based on their own personal decision has to be the man's fault. I know, I get it. I get it. But you the one that bought into that narrative. You bought into that narrative. You bought and you paid for it, and you upgraded the narrative to now it's not even a narrative that you bought in the beginning. It's become a specialized, customized narrative now that you hold personal, and it's not getting you the results that you want. nor will it ever. The statistics, the data, and the facts that I mentioned earlier about 1 in 4 black women that will marry in a lifetime, meaning 3 of them will die alone, those numbers are going to change, ladies. I said it. The only question is whether you're going to be one of those numbers in those statistics. That's the thing. That's the question. That is the question. What do you want? Do you want the trophy that you didn't earn, that you didn't run for? Do you want that trophy? How will that change you? You can't give your child a gift after bad behavior that he'll respect. Come on, ladies. Common sense often is said that it's not common. But can you give anyone a gift that they didn't earn and they give it the same respect that it's deserved after getting it? Will they? Think about it. Anything you've gotten without your effort, you didn't respect it. You know you didn't. Nobody does. It's human nature to disrespect a gift that they never earned. It's disrespect. And the natural reaction to receiving a gift that you know you didn't earn is to not see the value in it. So naturally, you're gonna walk over it like it had no value whatsoever. Well, guess what, ladies? The good man that you say you want, if he makes $10,000, if he makes $100,000 a year, you're talking about the top 10%. If he makes $150,000 to $200,000 a year, you're talking about the top 15% for $100,000. You're talking about 10% if it's above $100,000. Now you're talking about 5% if he's above that, and you're talking about the top 1% that make $500,000 and above. These are the men you want, while 85% of the population are out here ready and available for you. Your odds are higher with securing the fact that you don't leave this planet by yourself. And if you are so stubborn, if you are so hell-bent on getting what you have not run and raced for, earned, then you will subject yourself to the inevitable. What is the inevitable? You will die alone. And you will be unhappy. And you will be upset. Just because it's coming through me, another black man, doesn't mean that what I'm saying is incorrect. Everything I'm saying, if you don't believe me, you can go to blackdemographics.com. For black people, by black people. You don't believe that one because you think black folk just added something crazy in there? Okay, fine. Go to the U.S. Census and you watch the same stats, facts, and data that speaks to the same thing I'm talking about. This stuff is not going away. These facts will not go away unless you decide to make them go away by changing behavior. A man is not a luxury. A man in your life is an asset and a necessary individual. I don't mean for a utility purpose. So many of y'all see your men as utilities. You see them as a paycheck. And I'm going to tell you right now, a black man is worth way more than a paycheck. A man is worth more than a paycheck. He's not a utility. He's not a come up. He's not a come up. You're not settling if you don't get your behavior. If you stay non-combative. You're not settling for a man if you stay uncooperative. You're not settling if you stay toxic. He's settling if he picks you. Oh, I know that triggered you right there. I know that triggered you, but it's still true. It's still true. If a man settles with you and you're toxic, he's settling. If a man picks you and you're uncooperative, he's settling. If a man picks you and you're combative at all times, and you got to do a toe test every time he comes in the house to see what the climate is in that house, you're combative. He's settling. If you're not nurturing, he's settling. If you're not easy to get along with, he's settling. If you don't pay attention to how you carry yourself and your health and your weight, that means you're giving him what you think he deserves, he's settling. Stop thinking you're settling. Stop thinking you're settling, because most of the men that you have on your list, they would be settling for you, because you know you don't meet up to that list. You don't meet up to that list because you bypass all the men that's in the community where you live at. who want to have a conversation with you, who want to have a relationship with you. You walk past all of them and you look at them as if they're not good enough. And these men are hard-working brothers. They work the third shift at the plant. They make $30 an hour, $28 an hour, $27. It ain't enough. I know that's not enough for you. That's not enough for you. Even though you make $35 an hour, you make $35,000 a year. You ain't happy with the guy that makes $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. You don't want him. You're trying to reach for something that you can't even reach. So what do? You spend most of your life monkey jumping from one branch to another, from one dude to the next, and thinking that you're actually going to find the magic stone. You're not. You haven't found it up to this point. What we have found in the black community is that a lot of you are having babies, just having a whole lot of sex and a whole lot of babies, and using the children to weaponize the men that you made a decision to have children with. Ladies, we got to do better. We got to do better. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Get better. Get better. Because the whole world is watching. All the women in the world is watching how black women treat their men. And I heard a sister say to me, if black men don't want us, I'll go get a white man. I had to really bust that bubble real fast for her. You know what I said to her? I said, they don't want you either. I said, you know what they're watching? They're paying attention from afar. And they're saying, you know what? I ain't signing up for that class. They already know they can't graduate. If they sign up for that class, they're never gonna graduate. Never. Because ladies, you don't even want to take advice about how to change your attitude. You actually believe that men that say these things do not have a genuine argument. Why? Because you've never been taught to care what a black man wanted. And you've never asked him what he wanted. You only thought he wanted sex. Ain't it funny how all the sex that's happening in the black community, you're still not getting the outcomes you want? Do you want the trophy, ladies, that you were unwilling, for the race you were unwilling to run? Do you want the trophy for the race you were unwilling to run? In fact, you didn't even care to get in the race. You never even signed up for the race. But Becky, Julie, Gabrielle, Marisol, they all did. They did. And that's why most of them, for those of you that went to college, you watched most of them getting married while you were still in college. You went to weddings while you were in college. And all of the weddings you went to were your non-black counterparts. What is the problem going on in the black community with our women? I hope this helped. As with every stream. Ladies, do you want the trophy for the race you were unwilling to run? I'm your host, Charles Chambliss. Let's talk about it. Tell somebody about the stream so they can come on and get help. Even if you don't care, pass it on to somebody. You know when you don't want something, you kind of give it away? Well, give it away. Give it away to somebody. One man's junk is another man's treasure. And if what I'm saying on my streams to you is junk, then give it to somebody else. They might not see it the way you see it. One man's junk, one woman's junk is another woman and another man's treasure. With that being said, I thank you all for giving me your time. Time is a precious commodity, something we never can get back. I want to wish everybody a happy holiday. Enjoy your holiday. Go to the 4th of July parade, 4th of July fireworks. And what I hope most is that the same fireworks you see in the sky becomes the fireworks in your life. I hope you begin to see the fireworks in the outcomes that you say you want. And then we'll really have a true Independence Day. You'll be freed from the ridiculous thought process that made you believe that you needed a man. All right. Do you want the trophy for the race you were unwilling to run? Thank you, folks. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that gets on the line. I don't appreciate you because you came. I appreciate you because if you did come, that means you want something. And if I could add 2 sentences or 1 paragraph that'll make you see that that something needs to change, because with all of us we have to change. None of us are perfect, including myself. And in the end, we are better together than we are apart. We just are. And until the next time we come together with Stream, let's talk about it. Thank you for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a good night. Enjoy your weekend and be safe. Be responsible and be safe. Until next time, let's talk about it.